Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the EccentriC Mind Podcast with George Hernandez. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Here's a little, I was reading and listening to one of my old podcasts recently, and they're actually not as bad as I used to think they were. And there's a little message, a very interesting perspective that my past self had about meditation, and I wanted to bring it to light. And essentially, it's fairly simple. It's going based off of noise and the noise that comes infiltrating our thoughts and infiltrates our mind. I talked about it with a friend recently, or it was relatively a long time ago. But I told them that outside noise is something that comes into you and overtakes you. And it's sort of like this venomous bite that pinches you and it overtakes your body and overtakes your mind. You become anxious and, you suffer with it. You just deal with it, right? And I think as soon as we wake up, I think we rid ourselves of everything that happened yesterday. I'll talk about it myself. I'm probably the only one. But we have a certain event, we have a certain day, we go to sleep, that day's gone. We don't have to ponder about it, we don't have to reflect upon it, at least not until now. But all of the stress, all of the emotions, all the anxieties from yesterday are gone. And therefore, a rest and a night, 8 hours of sleep feels like a refresher. We wake up feeling refreshed, we feel good, we feel ready to take on the day. And when you wake up, it's pure bliss. It's pure silence until you whip out your phone, until you turn on the news, until you go around negative people. And this is when that noise, I'm not entirely sure what to write about it or call it yet, but it's a noise that infiltrates your thoughts from the sort of serene state that you had before, when you woke up, just this blissful, quiet, calm, very normal sort of baseline in your head. But as soon as you subject yourself to other things, outside noise, social media first thing in the morning, news first thing in the morning, you go out to work and you hear people complaining about how much of a jackass their boss is. That's when those infiltrating thoughts start coming into you, and therefore what you what you consume is then what you produce. So if you consume all that raw, horrible material, you're eventually either going to think it within yourself and then you're going to produce it, or you're just, like I said, just going to produce the shit that you're hearing. And I think it's very interesting to note that we need a lot of other periods of time where we can kind of relinquish those thoughts. Relinquish the anxiety that we have. I wish we could just get rid of it all entirely, but there are periods of time where you can just be in a state of bliss, be in a state of calmness, be in a state of serenity. And I'm finding out again, it keeps coming up for me, but there are challenges that you will have overcome, and then those challenges will reappear, and it's up to you to really figure out whether you've learned those lessons or not, or you'll need to struggle in overcoming them again. And that is sort of the place and position that I'm in at the current moment. I'm getting a lot of these challenges that I overcame in the past, but the way I'm handling them is nowhere near how I handled them in the past, and therefore I struggle with them. But they're challenges that I overcame in the past so easily, so frequently. And it's interesting when you have to go face to face with a problem that you gently, easily overcame, but now it's something that is giving you challenges, giving you problems. It's super interesting. But when I'm going about this, when it comes to, this infiltrating thoughts, being at a calm peace of mind, a state of mind, is that we can actually relinquish those thoughts and relinquish the anxiety that we feel based on meditation. I haven't meditated, I shit you not, I have not meditated in 7 months, and I'll have periods of time where I do non-sleep deep rest, where you essentially lay down on a bed, you listen to Andrew Huberman, his crisply voice speak into your ears, and he's telling you about your feet and your quads and your arms, etc. I'll do that every once in a while, but I haven't had meditation on my own in 7 months, 8 months maybe. Whereas before the last 7 to 8 months, I did it every single day for 2 years. And I clearly noticed a difference in my ability to articulate. It feels like a mental pathway just clear, like mentally the path is clear. And there's no hay, there's no ridges, there's nothing that's narrow. It's just completely calm, and I could just walk through it. And there's a state where if we're constantly subjecting ourselves to outside noise, social media, news, etc., right? Or shit about Donald Trump and freaking Kamala Harris, then we're going to be subjected to it and therefore consumed by it. And when we're consumed by something, it's taking over us, not us taking over it. And the only way to really relinquish these thoughts, as I said, is to put yourself into a intentional state of meditation. And though it's interesting that meditation, though it is extremely good for you mentally, as I'm literally realizing it right now, it's also hardest to get into a state of meditation. Even though meditation in and of itself is such an easy act to do. When you're constantly flooded and embedded and consumed by a lot of outside noise, the last thing that you want to do is put your phone to the side, put your TV to the side, and sit down and do nothing for 5 to 10 minutes. It's very hard to do. However, if you do it, if you decide to take action and actually sit your ass down, close your eyes, and take deep breaths for 5 to 10 minutes, you're immediately going to notice the drastic change that you have upon taking the action itself. And I'm relearning that. And it's so interesting. Most of my time, I spent 4 months in therapy recently. And I was always constantly trying to be mindful with the things that I was trying to say, trying to improve upon a lot of things. And it's interesting that I stopped doing something that made me more mindful, and that was meditation. And I wrote down here when I was in meditation, how do you expect to be mindful if you're not mindful? Full of activities that you elevate or alleviate your mind, bringing you fulfillment. How do you expect to be mindful if you're not mindful? Activities that you elevate and alleviate your mind, bringing you fulfillment. It's funny because I asked it in a question, but it's more of a statement. Yeah, so how do you expect to be mindful if you're not partaking in activities that help you feel mindful? Activities that alleviate and elevate your mind, bringing you that fulfillment that you gradually work towards. How do you expect to be mindful if you're not partaking in activities that help you be mindful? Activities that elevate, alleviate your mind, bringing you fulfillment. Yeah. The only way to really be mindful is partaking in activities that help you be mindful. And there's a lot of shit going on about you don't need to do your meditation, you don't need to do your 10-minute morning routine. And I get the morning routine part, but if you feel as if something helps you be more of yourself, why would you disregard it? I understand there's a point where if you don't do it, then you feel less like yourself, even though you're actually just being yourself. However, if you have a goal in being something or doing something, and something helps you get to that goal a little bit easier, a little bit more seamlessly, why is it that you don't do it? You know, I don't know. I just thought this was really interesting to me, so I talked about it. I hope you enjoyed this one. One thing that you can take from this is just don't infiltrate your peace and your ease and your serenity with outside noise, because it's something that's going to take up your time, something that's going to give you a little bit of gratification and a little bit of entertainment. I choose peace of mind and a state of serenity over something that's going to give me entertainment and small tidbits of gratification. Don't harm yourself because you just want a little bit of entertainment. Dive deeply into ease and peace, even if it seems boring. It's actually helping you out in the end. So take that with a grain of salt, question it, and do whatever you want with it, I guess. This has been the EccentriC Mind Podcast with George Hernandez, and I hope you have a fantastic day.